Hello and welcome to this session on looking at the Safari browser on the iPad. Safari is a browser that lets you search the internet for everything that you're interested in to discover news, entertainment, facts. What you're looking for in the iPad is a Safari icon, which looks like a little compass, a little blue compass. So you tap on that icon, that app, and it opens up like this. At the very top we've got the search bar, which will let you search for things you're looking for. It also tells you the address of the page that you're currently on. So I'm going to search now for the BBC News website, and as you can see as I'm typing, it's starting to try and give me suggestions already, but if there isn't one there, just tap on the one you're looking for, the search term you're looking for. We can scroll up and down the page to find out all the different types of results that the internet is showing us for BBC and the BBC News, but it's that top one that I'm after, so we tap on that hyperlink to take us to the BBC web page. A website like this will also have other links on it, so we can tap on those. If there's any content like video content, we can play it and we can listen to it if we want to. But also we might want to get back to our original page, and up in the top left hand corner you'll see the navigation button, so we could tap on the back arrow, that's the one that's pointing left there, to get back to the previous page that we were at. If I hold my finger on a particular story, it will give me a preview of the page I'm about to visit, and I can either visit that page or open in the background as a separate tab. Now there are some features which make reading this page an awful lot easier, and you can see at the top of the address bar there's two little letters A, and that opens up a menu that will allow us to change the size of the writing on the page. 150%, we can zoom up on the page so that the writing gets bigger, and again we can shrink it down. That's a quick way of scaling up and down the page to make it more easy for you to read. Now, accessibility sits at the heart of what Apple are trying to achieve with the iPad, and that includes within Safari. So I'm going to look for a little story here that will allow us to illustrate some of the things that will allow us to do. So let's jump straight to this, what was Edinburgh like without the festivals, and we just tap on the link as we normally do and scroll down and look at the text if we wish. But if you use a pinching move, that's taking two fingers and spreading them apart, it will zoom into that text, and if we take those two fingers and pinch them back in again, it will go back to the original size. So pinch is an incredibly important part of your repertoire in zooming in to particular parts of the screen. And again, we can just press back on our navigation buttons. Let me click another story to illustrate something else. You'll notice on a page like this there's lots of noise on it, what we call noise, lots of stories at the side, extra pictures, distractions really. If we go to those two A's we saw much earlier on, there's an option called Show Reader View, and when you tap on that option, what it'll do is it'll strip away all that noise that was on the page and allow you to just concentrate on the story. Now that feature isn't available on every website, but lots of the most popular websites allow you to go into this reader view to make accessing and watching that page much easier for you. Now this website is one I really like and I use an awful lot. So what I might want to do is to make it easy for me to access this, and I can use the share button on the Safari browser to allow me to do that. When I tap on this, I've got lots of different options, and the one I want to choose is to add to home screen. And when I choose that, it'll take that web address, that favourite site of mine, and it'll make it an icon on my iPad. What that means, of course, is anytime I tap on that icon, it means I'll be taken straight into the Safari browser and onto that site. Another feature we can use is the plus button, and that will allow you to add a new tab to your Safari browser. We can see we've still got the home BBC News there available to us, but now we're opening up a new window to do a new search and to have a new website alongside it. So I'm going to search for, in this instance, movies. So let me search for movies, and again we would use our swipe up and down on our iPad to find out all the different possibilities that are there. So I'm going to choose a particular page from random here. It's the 17 website. You'll often get accept windows like this for terms and conditions. Just go ahead and do that. And that takes me to 90 movies to watch while you're stuck at home. That's what I'm interested in today, for just imagine that. So what other features I've got now I can do that? Well, back to this share button up in the top right hand corner, one of the options on that screen for me is to add it as a bookmark. That means I'm storing that page inside browser as something I want to use often. So when I click on that save button, I can do that. You'll see it appears in my favourites when I add a new tab. So right along the top you saw those 3 sites, and that 17 is one of my favourites. Let's try this again with a golf website. I'm searching for golf and I'm looking for a golf site that I like to use a lot, and I want to bookmark that, keep that as something that I have saved and can return to as many times as I like, rather than adding it as a button on, or an app button on my iPad. So again, I can do that. I can go to the share button and I can turn that into a bookmark, just the same way I did with the 17 website. Tap on save. Now your bookmarks button, when you tap on that, you will see a list of the bookmarks you've already made, and you can see there I've got the 90 best movies to watch and the golf.com website. Those were the 2 that I wanted to add as favourites. Can you see? So bookmarking lets you keep a record of all the things you want to store to be used again. Now focusing on these tabs, you can see I tap on each one. So I've got those 3 sites open at the same time. That allows me to multitask and jump between them, so as I don't have to keep searching all the time and going to different bookmarks. I can keep those on the screen and those 3 tabs. Okay, let's look for another story here. Coronavirus, what are the quarantine rules? Click on my share button to see some of the other features that are there. I'm going to add this to a reading list, because sometimes we find websites, I'll need to catch up and read that later, I'll save that for later, but I don't want necessarily to keep it as a bookmark. So if I add it to the reading list, I can go to my bookmarks page, and if you tap on the little glasses icon, you'll see stories or pages that you've wanted to look at later but not necessarily keep as bookmarks. If I edit that, once I've read the coronavirus story, I can edit the page, tick the web page that I want to get rid of, and then tap on the delete button, and that'll take that off my reading list. So it's a good way for you to curate stories that you want to catch up with later. The final one is the history button. That shows you everything that you've looked at over the previous 24 hours, month, year. It records every single site you visit, and it'll break it down daily into morning, afternoon and evening, so that you can refer back to it. Say there's a page I visited earlier on the Titanic, an interest of mine. Sometimes if you've been searching for things throughout the day, you forget, where was that again? You can use your history find to find that back out. So we have bookmarks, we have reading lists, and we have history. We can clear the history with a clear button down the bottom, and you can decide which list of websites you visited to get rid of. I'm going to clear it. All the websites I've ever visited, I'll clear that. You need to tap back on that bookmarks bar to get rid of that window to take back to the websites you've been using. Okay, so many of the pages we sometimes look at contain lots and lots of content, and at times you might want to search for particular things within an article on a web page. I'm going to show you to do that. Again, it's a share button, and when we scroll down, we swipe down, we can see a find on page option. When I tap that, my keyboard will appear and I can type the thing that I'm searching for. In this particular case, it's Wisconsin. Type Wisconsin, press the blue enter button, and it will show me that there are 2 possible options, and I can use the up and down arrows to jump between where Wisconsin appears in that article. If I tap in the bottom right hand corner, it will hide my keyboard so that I can just see my search term, and the 2 arrows may move me up and down. I could also swipe up and down to do that. Now let's look at a really important feature, getting the iPad to speak out the words that are on a page. We need to highlight the text that we want by holding down a finger on the text and dragging it until we have selected what we want. That will make a menu appear with speak on it.
U.S. presidential candidate Joe Biden has accused Donald Trump of being a weak and toxic leader who has fomented violence in the country.
I can tap on pause, but that speak button, as soon as you highlight something, the speak option will appear. So how did I do that? Well, I'm going to go to my settings menu, which looks like a little cogwheel on my iPad. I'll tap that. I'll swipe down to get the accessibility menu. Within the accessibility menu, there's a spoken content option, and I like to make sure that I have speak selection and speak screen switched on. That's them now off. Let's switch them on. I can also change the speaking rate. If the speaking rate's too fast for me, I can adjust that so that it suits how I listen. Let's go back to the story that we were wanting to have a look at in Safari. We need to highlight the text. Remember, hold your finger on the first word and then just pull until it's highlighted what you want. As soon as you let go of your finger, speak will appear as one of the options.
Federal forces were sent by President Trump to Portland in July in what was...
And again, I can pause that, and that's that done. Now, we can cross out any of these pages by clicking on the cross of each tab, and that will reduce the amount of pages we have that we're looking at the moment. There's only one tab now on that screen. Let me search for something else. Let me go to Google, one of the most popular search sites. Now, obviously, the top bar can search for Google, but you might want to have the Google site there. You may want to add that as a bookmark. Can you remember how to do that? Or you might want to add it to your favourites, which I've just done. And you'll see favourites when you go to the search bar, as you can see there. So, for example, if I was going to golf.com, but want to go back to my search bar, can you see the Google favourite that's over there in the right-hand corner? Yes, you can. And that will take us back to Google. It's different from a bookmark and just as useful. Now I want to try searching for some pictures. I know people use Safari a lot for looking at pictures, and so they search in Google for Ferrari. You'll see there's an option here for images. And when you tap on images, you've got a whole host of images referring to whatever you've searched for. So this is a Ferrari, obviously. I'm going to tap on a picture. Now if I hold my finger on the picture on the right hand side, I'll get that sub menu, and I'll get an option to add it to photographs, add it to my photos. Let's maybe look for another picture. Let's click on this other one, hold my finger on the picture, that sub-menu appears, and add to photos. Now, where are those photos? Of course we need to know that. Let's click on our home button on the right hand side and go to photos. When you open that up, your most recent photos will appear. See, I've got lots, and there is the two photos. I can swipe left and swipe right back to get back to the picture I want. Those are the pictures that are saved in your photos now. Now I'm going to use the Show All Tabs button in the top right hand corner to let you see all of the websites you're currently looking at. And you can look at it in this view and then tap the one that you want to get back to. So for this example, I'm going to go back to the Hamilton website. If I tap it again, I'll see all the tabs that I've got open. And I can start closing some of these tabs if I want, as well as viewing them. So you just tap on the X to get rid of one of the tabs. Let's click another one. There we go. So that particular option to look at all tabs is a different way of seeing those 4 websites. Okay, finally, let's click on that View All Tabs option that we've just done in the past. You can see there's another button there that says Private. When I tap on Private, it tells you that you can go into this private mode so that Safari won't remember what you visited in your history or your autofill information. So some people like to jump to private to keep that information in those searches private, and that's available to you. And that's us. Plenty to do. Enjoy searching.